Call 312-6-million. Injury law made personal. That's Ankin Law.
Over to second base. We're projecting that Chase Meidroth is going to be the starting second baseman. Yes, the door is open technically, but I don't think it's fully ajar for somebody else to beat Chase Meidroth. So we're going with Chase Meidroth as a projected second baseman for the White Sox at opening day. PECOTA projections for Chase Meidroth: 136 games, 11 homers, 50 RBIs for Meidroth, batting .261 with a .345 on base percentage, slugging .371. So PECOTA is projecting a .716 OPS for Chase Meidroth. Jim Margulis, what does a successful season look like for Chase Meidroth in 2026?
I think a successful season would be just getting the starting job, like holding it down, looking like a 2 to 3 win player, and not the kind of 2 to 3 win player who needs to play every single day to get to 2 to 3 wins. You know, that was like the Yolmer Sanchez model of, or, you know, Juan Pierre before him, in terms of, like, they look like an average player in terms of wins above replacement, but then you look at the games and plate appearances they accrued, and it wasn't necessarily an average type of performance that was felt on a game to game or series to series, week to week basis. So I think somebody like him, who's going to have probably some time at short, probably, you know, as if Sam Antonacci comes up, we'll share some time there, you know, with Antonacci being a complement left-handed, to where, you know, Meidroth should be able to rest if he's banged up, which, yeah, I think last year he didn't. You know, lots of opportunities to move him around. He might be at the top of the order a fair amount, to where, like, he should get the at-bats. I think, yeah, a season where you look at him and say, like, yeah, he's a starting second baseman. If he's your worst infielder, you're in great shape, I think, is kind of the bar I put for him, just because of, you know, he's not going to be somebody who hits 20 homers in a season probably. So you're looking at somebody who, you know, has all the supplemental skills, you know, ability to hit for some average, draw some walks, play good defense, you know, make smart decisions. Manager likes having him around. So yeah, I would say if he rounds up to 3 WAR in a well-rounded way, I think that's what you want to see.
Yeah, that would be a great season for Chase Meidroth and at second base for the Chicago White Sox. Again, second base is a pretty weak position across Major League Baseball right now. So if he gets anywhere near that, Chase Meidroth might be contending for top 10 at the position in Major League Baseball. So time to play yay or nay, and this is for James Fegan. James, Chase Meidroth plays the most games at second base for the Chicago White Sox in 2026. Yay or nay?
I don't know if it's like some sort of like historical trauma with White Sox, that like the fans, that they haven't seen like depth of the position, that they can't look at like Antonacci and Meidroth and imagine like a pool cue being snapped in between both of them, and they have to fight it out in some way. I don't think it's necessary to think like that. If I would have put a marker for Meidroth having a successful season, I might say like +5 or better DRS or OAA, because those are the crucial element of that. Is probably his advantage over Antonacci as a player, that doesn't get kind of factored into you know, tweets putting their spring training stat lines next to each other. So I would say yes, certainly, because like he's going to start the season in the majors. That's not a given, or, you know, probably even a likelihood for Antonacci, who has not played AAA baseball yet. And I think his defense kind of gives him a staying power, especially at second base. I think he's probably the best second base defender on the roster they have at this point. So I think it's that, and seeing obviously spurts of pretty good offense, pretty good on base skills, very good contact skills. The fact that he's obviously produced very highly at AAA already, and that he was banged up last year, that I think you could see the idea of like, this guy's second year in the majors, healthier, have optimism for him being like a league average hitter. Yeah, I would lean towards him playing the most games at second base. I think that his metrics there have been really good. I think specifically watching him anecdotally, his actions were a lot more rushed at shortstop, and that's where a lot of his throwing errors came from. I think if he's at second base kind of all the time, and Luis Angel Acuna was like the primary backup shortstop, I think he could look like a stud defensively at second base over the long haul, which I think he should at least have a pretty decent window to start the season to build up a really big lead in that aspect. And even if like it becomes a timeshare down the road, he still is like an asset defensively who commands a fair amount of playing time there because of that.
So James is going with yay. So it's time to move over to over under. And Jim, I'll start with you. And I'm setting the over under. Let's just assume that Chase Meidroth, and James is right, that he gets the most of the starts at second base. I have the over under set at 124 and a half hits for Chase Meidroth in 2026. Are you taking the over or the under, Jim Margulis?
First of all, to go back to the pool cue fight, who wins that?
What's Ares, the god of war? It's like some sort of like offering to him. I think he wins in the end of that.
I think somebody else dies first.
The pool cues.
I think somebody else gets taken out in the periphery as
The
they
person
just
who's
go
dropping
around
the
and
pool
around.
cue then doesn't make it out of the room alive.
They're fighting with toothpicks at the end, going for eyes. That's probably how it works. Yeah, I would say over, under 124.5. I'll say over. I think he should get enough opportunities, and also like the way the lineup's been shaken out, like probably get a lot of plate appearances. Hopefully the lineup turns over more this time around to where he just comes to the plate more often. The hit tool comes back a little bit as he's healthier, starts putting a little bit more of a charge in the ball. I think he's a little bit more viable as an offensive performer this time around. So yeah, I'll say over.
All right, so Jim's taking over. James, over under 124 and a half hits for Chase Meidroth.
How many did he have last year?
114.
Then over. Why not?
All right, James is going over. Back-to-back overs. I'm going to go under. I'm not as optimistic about Meidroth as you two are. I think Meidroth does make the most starts this upcoming year. Let's see if he plays 100 games.
So like a plurality versus a majority.
Yeah. So I'm going to take the under. I think he's going to have to play like 130, 140 games. Like PECOTA's got to be pretty close, 136 games for him to be 124 and a half. But let us know again in the comment section. If you're watching this on YouTube, let us know in the YouTube comments. Are you taking the over or under 124 and a half hits for Chase Meidroth in 2026? Thanks for watching the latest Sox Machine video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/SoxMachine. And if you ever need something to listen to, subscribe to the Sox Machine podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, such as Spotify and Apple Music.